I'm Kit Noonan.
And I'm Kaylin Serena Stanton. We're certified coaches and best friends from different generations who aim to simplify wellness. Soulful Wellness is a personal evolution podcast and community that embraces living well your way. No trends, diets, or one-size-fits-all advice here.
We share our personal and unfiltered experiences so you too can heal and experience your own wellness transformation.
Join us every Thursday as we embrace living from the soul.
In this episode, we're diving into the art of rest and exploring the 7 ways to recharge your mind, body, and soul.
Hello, Soulful Society. Thank you for following our podcast. To those who are new, welcome. We're so honored to have you. We know you have an ocean of podcasts to choose from, and so we are honored that you chose to tune in. If you haven't already, please don't forget to leave a rating and review for Soulful Wellness on Apple Podcasts during the month of November to be automatically entered to win one of the Soulful Jade Rollers, which we will mail to you. If you've already done this, we've received 2 reviews so far. We saw that we didn't get one this week, so we got to remind you. If you haven't done this already, go ahead and invite a friend to leave us a review so that they can be entered. We'll be drawing a winner based on the submissions and announce this winner at the top of our December 7th episode to allow time for all Apple Podcast reviews to post.
And on to today's very important, very timely, and very useful topic. We're talking about rest and relaxation because life can be a whirlwind filled with responsibilities, challenges, and the constant buzz of everyday activities. Sometimes we can barely find a moment of peace amidst the chaos of life, but especially now in the holiday season. Fear not, because in the next 30 minutes, we'll uncover 7 different types of rest you can begin practicing today.
Whether you're a seasoned rest enthusiast, living out sloth philosophy, or someone looking to add more balance to your life, these 7 ways to rest are your passport to a calmer, more centered you, or so we hope.
So what are these 7 magical ways to rest? Well, think of them as the keys to unlocking your inner sanctuary. From mindful practices to the simple joys of self-care, we'll be covering it all.
I think what's really cool about this episode is it allows us to explore creative, unique ways that we can get rest. Because I feel like when I think of rest, I just think of lying horizontally, and that's pretty much it.
I automatically think of sleep.
Yeah.
It's just a synonym. I rest and restore and rejuvenate when I'm sleeping. That's what sleep is for. And it is. That part isn't wrong. Cellular change happens while sleeping, and that's when your mind processes events in your life, particularly the unpleasant or even traumatic events. Your brain is trying to work through what to do with that stress, that anxiety, that information that it got, where to put it, how to handle it, and how to recover from it. I'll launch into physical rest, which sleep is, of course, part of physical rest. That's the first of our 7, but it's not the only way to get physical rest. Another important way we can achieve the benefits of physical rest are through stretching and gentle movement.
Ooh. Okay, I feel like this is another sign from the universe. I've been getting these little taps and synchronicities to incorporate more stretching. I've been following this TikToker who's certified in helping you balance your hormones through processing your trauma through somatic healing.
Ooh.
What I said sounds like a mouthful. It is so beautiful though. And so she actually shows you a lot of stretching and hip openers that allow us to release stored emotions and stored trauma in the body, which is so cool. Lord knows I need that. I just think it's such a beautiful, soft way to be able to heal.
It shows the alignment between the emotional, the psychological, and the physical.
The connection.
We as humans take on trauma, and I'm talking about lowercase trauma. I'm not even like thinking about uppercase T trauma. I'm just thinking the parts of life that kind of fuck you up a little, especially over time. The only way to get through them really messing you up, to be the person you want to be and feel the way you want to feel, is to process them. And we store them so deeply that they become part of our physical. So absolutely doing those beautiful, slow stretching, kind of releasing, letting go of what we don't want to carry forward with us.
Like, who knew? I feel like when you think about adulting or building a wellness routine, you think about, okay, I got to move my body, I got to work out, not really realizing the importance of stretching. I feel like stretching is over here being like, hey guys, I'm really easy and simple, I promise, but I can really help with a lot of things. Like, it's not just workout recovery. Like, I can help you process stored emotion. Like, hello,
Yes.
I'm over here.
I think it's completely underutilized because we so strongly associate it with physical and physical alone. Stretching happens in the gym. Stretching happens at the end of a workout class. We can have a complete rebranding campaign for stretching,
For
as
stretching.
physical rest, and all it can do for you to help you process pent up, physically stored stuff from your past, but then also just recent events of the day and stressors, and get that hormone regulation, which, by the way, impacts your food choices. And you think, like, really? How's stretching going to impact my food choices? But it does, because all the choices we make are linked to our mental, emotional state. And as we incorporate these 7 areas of rest, this physical rest being our first one we're talking about, because I think it's the most obvious one that we all think of, in addition to prioritizing sleep, also incorporating new tool, our rebranding of stretching.
Let's do a little challenge, Kit, because I need an accountability buddy, frankly. Maybe for the month of December, we put more intentionality behind stretching and we journal the journey.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
I know we always say, like, don't go for perfect because it's not about every single day, but this is one where I think if we can incorporate it as a true habit down the road, every single day, or as close to that as we can reasonably get, it's not about quantity, but it's about frequency and regularity, even if it's just 5 to 10 minutes of gentle stretching. I love that you want this for us, and I'm all in.
Let's do it. All right. Rest number 2, sensory rest. So it has to do with screens and monitors. So tools like this could be blue light blocking glasses, dim the lights in your office or room. I have so many dimmers in my house. I'm so grateful for them. Gotta have the mood lighting. And I noticed too, it signals to my brain, at least in this part of the season of winter, okay, it's time to wind down. So I'll turn off the lights, even if it is to watch TV. I think the advice here would be turn off the screens half an hour to an hour before bed. That one I could really work on, you guys, but it is one of my helpful numbing behaviors right now. But I really do signal, like, the entire house, all the lights are turned off for that last half an hour of TV or whatever.
My latest, I don't know, call it a tool, call it a hack, whatever, is 2-part. I finally, for the first time in my life, bought some sleeping masks, which has, I think, who knows, maybe it's the placebo effect, but I think it's really helping.
Okay.
Also, I've been flipping my clock to the part that illuminates is actually physically down to the table. So 2 parts, getting rid of any light coming out of that because, the mask isn't perfect. And also time checking. It eliminates that as a possibility for me because I'm not going to go to the effort of flipping the clock back up and, a dozen times in the middle of the night. So that is trying to minimize sensory input during the night.
Oh, beautiful. I used to use it was like an eye mask that was beaded and it was lavender scented, which was
Oh,
So
that's
beautiful.
nice.
You guys know I love my essential oils. So I always put some lavender on my bed at night, except for I ran out, which is really sad. But I feel like that's another way to engage the senses, rest the senses, and also get yourself ready for sleep with some of those like soothing scents.
Exactly. Calming the senses.
Yeah.
And when you talked about dimming the lights, you don't have to reserve that just as a signal it's wind down time. If you're just feeling overloaded in the middle of your day, you can have a sensory timeout. You can turn the lights out in your office,
Yeah.
sit in the chair, close your eyes, cover your eyes, whatever it takes to minimize the input you're getting from the world, because Lord knows we are constantly getting bombarded with input of all kinds.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do to give yourself a boost of energy during the workday when you're looking at a screen is when you're starting to dip, close the computer and take a walk, get some fresh air, and then come back to it, as opposed to like reaching for the coffee at 3 p.m. and continuing to like push through.
Next underutilized rest is creative rest. And that's kind of what you just segued us into, because that's involving nature, art, music.
Mm-hmm.
Have an awe-inspiring emotional experience to create that awe and wonder effect for yourself. We all need that in life. I feel like we have it as kids, not infrequently, and then in adulthood, it's pretty darn infrequent. It's largely when I'm on vacation. That's when I go to see a gorgeous sunset, or I go somewhere that I've never been and I see landforms or parts of nature that I don't typically have exposure to, and I take the time to notice and be in awe. Because life is mostly not on vacation, we have some tools to bring more creative rest into your life. One we've talked about in podcasts past as an antidote to anxiety, and that's utilizing the zoom out strategy. And that's just what it sounds like. You leave your body for a moment and zoom out, and then go further out and further and further and further until maybe you're in the atmosphere looking down and you see a little speck of you down there, but you see a whole lot more happening. And when you can cultivate appreciation and gratitude and perspective in this way, it helps you in this creative rest environment, because you are part of a massive, awful is a horrible word, because awful is awful, full of awe world, universe.
You are a part of an awful world.
Yeah. Yeah, that one does not work as being full of awe, huh?
Doesn't really roll off the tongue.
Becomes opposite.
But I'm picking up what you're putting down for sure. And the beauty of this is, like, if you don't identify with being a creative, like, all you have to do is really go out into the world, into the nature.
Yeah.
All you really have to do is go out into nature, listen to music, disconnect. And I would say, if you do enjoy projects, painting, watercolors, coloring, anything that can give you this sort of creativity, messing around, making collages, vision boarding, that is such a fun way to rest, because you're utilizing your creative gifts and it connects you closer to source. You're tapping into the universe and into your personal power. So it gives you that sense of recharge that is unlike any other, frankly.
Yeah, it works to settle yourself, to just calm everything down a couple notches. And like you said, if you're not artistic, you don't have to be the one creating the art or creating the music. You can just enjoy listening to music. You can enjoy artwork or whatever it is that you connect to, and just feel that peacefulness, that settling of the emotions. Okay, so we're kind of buddying this one up with our next area of rest, which is spiritual rest.
So this doesn't have to be religious at all. It can be feeling a connection to something greater than ourselves. I mean, it really does tie into that zoom out strategy, right? Of seeing yourself in this bigger picture as a part of something so much greater than what we could ever imagine.
having a space of belonging, having a sense of belonging to bring out the spirituality within you.
Yeah, I mean, even if that's saying a prayer or writing in your gratitude journal, or for me, pulling angel cards, or just tapping into source, something that's so much greater than us, that is beyond our imagination, can really help us recharge and rest by relinquishing that control to a higher power.
Feeling the connection of something beyond just me can create that helper's high. You get to feel good in an emotional, feel good way. And bonus, someone else feels good in an emotional way as a result of what you're doing.
So you're talking about volunteering.
Yeah, our tools for this one: volunteer,
Yeah.
donate, give what you have. Do you have time? Give your time. Do you have energy? Give your energy. Do you have money? Give your money to something that isn't for you, is for someone else. But the wonderful benefit is it's really for you too.
Yeah, and I think if you're having trouble identifying how you want to give back or which group you want to volunteer for, I think it's just really about getting quiet, tapping into your intuition, and being open to the synchronicities and the signs that come along the way, which will guide you to, okay, this is the group I want to help. This is where I want to volunteer.
Absolutely. Yes, I completely agree. You don't even have to go out looking and try too hard. If you make yourself open and available, I firmly believe it will come to you. Next area of rest is social rest. This one's about finding comfort.
Laughter can really bring us a lot of soulful rest, right? Just being able to be silly or just tap into the levity and the lightness of life and the joy can really, really help us rest, as simple as it sounds.
Yeah, whether it's time with your favorite people, it's a hobby you feel passionate about, nothing feels like a good old belly laugh. I always think of this with other people. There's just something about the energy that gets generated and magnified when it's me and someone or someone's else. And I think back, I think about my best friend from growing up, from childhood and high school, and the times we just laughed our asses off. And somebody looking on wouldn't even understand, wouldn't even get it, would probably be like, what are you cracking up about? But it was just that energy that got going to the point where it didn't really even matter what happened next. We were going to think it was so freaking funny.
I love that. I mean, a dose of playfulness can be the perfect antidote to stress. It really is true.
Yes,
and I
can.
feel like that plays, no pun intended, plays so well into making sure that we're surrounding ourselves with people that we can be 100% ourselves with. I think the older we get, the smaller that group is, and that's just the natural progression of life, and it's okay as long as we have a few people or even that one person where we know unequivocally we can be our absolute, pure, unedited, unfiltered, authentic self with, just totally goofy.
So our tool is to ask yourself, what is the energy around me? And you can ask yourself this in any moment. You can ask it in the workplace, in my home, in wherever. Time out. I need to check here. What's the energy around me? And then the answers will reveal next steps. Do you need to stay away from certain people or even certain groups of people that Kaylin likes to call
energy vampires?
Energy vampires. Don't even need to explain it. The name says it all. Minimize your time around those peeps. Human beings need people who are quote unquote tribe, people who inspire us, who encourage positive comparison and help us with our growth mindset. Basically, they're energizing versus energy draining. The anti-vampires.
I love that so much. And even people that lift us up, or even people that we look up to.
Yeah. Yes.
That can be really energizing.
It brings so much when you know you have it on your calendar, before you get to see them, you're excited about it. So you get that positive energy going, that excitement. Then when you're with them, obviously it's freaking fun. And then afterward, you still get residual goodness out of it because you're thinking back to what happened. You're kind of chuckling to yourself again. And it's like this extended, it goes beyond just the time with them. Knowing you have these people in your life and just thinking about them can make you feel really happy.
Definitely. I feel like that's how I felt after Thanksgiving, being with family in town, cousins, and friends. It really made my heart feel really full and happy and buzzing for a few days for sure. Gives you that little boost.
So valuable.
Yeah, really invaluable.
Next up, we have emotional rest. Do you have a place where you can speak your truth, all of your truth, and be your true, authentic, unfiltered self?
Yes.
I was going to say, really.
Are you asking me?
Really hope the answer is yes.
Do you?
Yes.
Good.
I have a few.
Yeah.
A tool for emotional rest is to create a safe space for emotional release so you don't feel like you have to bottle everything up all the time. We all have to bottle stuff up as adults because there's a time and a place, and sometimes you're not in a place where it would be appropriate to let everything out. But it is important to let it out, and to let it out after hopefully not too much time has passed, because it kind of, festers in there while you're bottling.
Oh, yeah. It like ferments. It gets
worse. Yes, and those gas bubbles add a lot of pressure.
Exactly.
We could go on and on with this analogy. So one of my places is in my car. I'm truly alone. Nobody knows that I'm not talking on the phone on Bluetooth. So if I'm verbalizing, like, I feel completely safe, I feel completely comfortable. I don't think anybody's judging me looking in. I know nobody can hear me. And it's such a timely thing, because if I think about the places that cause me anxiety or cause me stress, work, well, you drive to get there and you drive home. So I haven't bottled stuff up for too long. Yes, I bottled it while I was at work. But if I can talk about it, get mad about it, even cry about it on the drive home, that is so cathartic. It truly is the emotional release I need.
Yeah. I mean, having that safe space where you can just let it rip. It sounded like I'm talking about a fart. I swear I'm not.
Yes, it did.
It definitely did. It kind of is like a fart, though. Okay, we were just talking about gas bubbles and how it ferments and it gets all bubbly. Well, this is,
bring it back around.
This is your sweet release, just to let it out. If you hold it in, I mean, it's really going to create some internal issues for you. So definitely let it out. I love that. I feel like for me, it's in the shower, like singing. Like I can really emotionally release through singing, which I often forget about until I'm reminded or just am inspired. And I realize, oh, this is such a beautiful way to release where I don't have to literally be journaling or something like that.
Speaking of journaling, that brings us to our final form of rest, and that is mental rest.
Yes.
This is things like journaling, meditating, and our big tool here is have a designated mental break every single day.
I love this.
Give your brain an actual break. Don't try to think all the things or solve all the problems. We're busy doing that all the time. Set an alarm. This is my mental rest time. I'm not going to solve any of the world's problems for the next 10 minutes.
Ooh, that's beautiful. It's an important thing to actually intentionally set that aside. Otherwise, we're just going to be thinking ourselves into stress, into an oblivion.
Yes, we're thinking all the time. We're even thinking in our sleep.
I know.
Have a designated
Give the brain
mental
a break.
rest time. I know. Give it a little break.
So the tool here is be in the current moment with 5 senses, a little self-check-in. Oh, my therapist gave this to me one time. It's really interesting, easy activity. All right. So you can do this anywhere, anytime, especially if you feel like anxiety is bubbling up. This is a great tool. Engage the senses. See, like, what can I see in the environment around me? Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. What can I hear? What can I feel physically? What do I smell? And what is the taste in my mouth? So I feel like this is a really beautiful way to tap back into your senses, be in the present moment. It's like an act of meditation in a way. It's a mindfulness in action.
Yes.
The other tool that you guys know is one of my favorites for mental rest is journaling. Just brain dump. Get it all out. Lists, thoughts, what if worries, affirmations. It can be anything as long as it's from your brain to the pen and paper or to your thumbs and your phone. Get it out and you'll see how much release you'll truly get from this tool. Well, in today's episode, we went over 7 different ways to rest. Let us know which were your favorite. Email us at sfowpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to leave us a rating and a written review on Apple Podcasts to put your name in for our Soulful Jade roller drawing, which we'll announce on December 7th.
Thank you so much for joining us for another week of wellness. Peace, love, and light.
Peace, love, and light. The Soulful of Wellness hosts are certified health and wellness coaches. This podcast is intended to inform and entertain listeners on their wellness journey. This podcast is meant to enhance, not replace, listeners' care from doctors, therapists, or other medical providers.